must be wondering what I'm doing here, but these are the prunings from my yew hedge. And this yew hedge, if you look at it, I kept it to about 6 foot high, but we've grown this hedge for the last 15, maybe 20 years. And I thought that it would be too good an opportunity to miss, because there are some yews here with 8-inch diameter trunks at the base. So we're going to harvest these. So it is going through this stock fence. So we're going to remove the stock fence, and I'm going to show you how we're going to prune these back before we lift it with a digger. In a week's time, I have a big digger coming, and we're going to lift them out and transplant them, and that will be the start of another bonsai journey for all these yews. So it's about, I would say, 30 or 40 foot of hedge, and every single tree is absolutely stunning. So what Josh and the lads have been doing is that they've been pruning them back. Look at all the prunings with the hedge trimmer. We've trimmed all the soft shoots off so that we can get at that stock fence. We can't cut it with a chainsaw until we get the stock fence away. So we're going to remove the stock fencing. I think we probably have to cut it in places, and then we will have it ready. The next stage will be to cut it to the right height, and then next week we're going to lift it with the digger. So this is phase one. Let me show you what the hedge looks like from the other side. And this is it. You can see how strongly they grow. They produce branches about 6 foot long in one season. So they're really vigorous trees. So when you look at some of these trunks, which are 6 to 8 or even more inches in diameter, you can understand why they grow so fast, and they're not that old. So here we are, looking at this hedge from this side, and I've got more hedges. I've got hedges all around my own garden, and they were all planted about 10 or 15 years ago, not more than that. And inside the hedgerow you see all these holly twigs, oak trees, 6-8 foot high, spindle, all growing in the hedge. Now let me walk on the other side and see what's going on. This, believe it or not, is a rose bush, but the brambles or the blackberries are such a pesky plant that they also grow in the thorns of the roses, and they're very hard to get rid of. So I've got to cut this down to size so that I get better control, otherwise I won't be able to move near that bush. So here is Josh and Steve preparing the hedge. We had stock fencing here, but we're going to take it out. So now that it's removed, you can see the base of the tree. And I'm going to show you, I will have to keep some greenery on this tree, because if we remove all the green, then the tree tends to suffer. So this is the first stage, or the second stage I would say, of preparing the hedge for taking out with the digger next week. So we've cleared this hedge, we've taken the stock fencing out, so you can now see all these yews. If I get Josh to hold the camera, I'm going to show you the detail. Each of these are beauties. You see, we planted these yews about 1 meter apart, and even then they've grown into each other. And you see the way some of these branches have grown. This has just been shown to me. Look at it. This branch is fused with that because they touched each other. So it's like natural in-arching or natural grafting. So this happens with time. And look at the base of this. Until I show you my hands next to it, look at that. Look at that base. Can you imagine what we could do carving that? So this tree will probably end up that high. So we are going to look to cut the tree maybe about that high, because we don't want the roots to have to support the entire tree. So we're going to cut it down to there. But some of these branches, you see all these new buds are coming. We've got to leave some of the green here. If we cut it too hard, the tree might die. So we have to make sure that there's a lot of green left to sustain it. You watch it, I will just use the lopper and show you. So if I cut here, I know that eventually they will all have to be cut, but I need to keep some green so that the roots get active and pull the sap through. If you do it too soon, then the tree might not be able to put the sap through. So you see here these shoots here. That's a good sign. If you have enough of these, then we can safely cut these off. But if you don't have it and you cut it back to the bare branch, then that would suffer. Chainsaw, a bit of chainsaw to cut these bits.
Look at that.
Concentrate on it, can you see? People will say that the cameraman is bad. So that is what we're cutting back, as much as that. And then this again, you see all these little green shoots. You're like talking about economics, the green shoots of recovery. You see, these are what you call green shoots. You have to leave some of them. If you don't leave them, then when you dig it up, the tree would suffer. So that's what we're looking for, green shoots like that. Cutting it close, cutting it close. So it's not just hacking with a chainsaw now. And then with the chainsaw, we'll probably take it back to there because we don't need the tree that high, certainly not that high. So with the chainsaw, we're going to cut this. So the next stage will be to bring that little chainsaw and we will do that. What a lovely day. We had a lot of rain yesterday, but it's nice and sunny today. What an interesting project. So this tree, I think we can cut, maybe for good measure, cut it there and cut these back. So leave that as a potential leader should we want it that high, and these we'll also cut about the same height, cut these branches back. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to use our mini chainsaw. Okay, the rest can be done with the chainsaw. We find this little chainsaw useful.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of these are all congested and jammed up.
Trap here?
Yep.
Trap.
Who would think that we're making bonsai? Isn't it? Okay, so we can reduce the branches on the other side as well, so that we take it out cleanly. You see how useful these long loppers are. We need to take some from the other side as well, Joe.
Get out of the way. I'll shorten all these back ones here, yeah?
Yeah. Chainsaw or not?
No.
No. Okay, I think we will now show you the next stage when we've cut all the branches off to show you what the tree would look like. So I just show you how much we've taken off just 3 plants. Look at all that debris we've taken off those 3 plants. And look at the rings. Not a lot of rings. You can count the rings. It's a double one. That looks like a face. And this is all the tops from just three trees. 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. And that is the stump we are going to dig out with the digger next week. When you think that out of something not very pretty, we're going to create something really, really beautiful. So this entire hedge is going to be reduced to stumps like that. So watch for the next episode. So let me show you one final shot of us preparing these trees to get it out of the hedge for next week. So we used the small chainsaw, but most of the work is just done with the silky saw, preparing the top. So we're getting rid of half the tree and reducing it to stumps like that. And that will be the start of the bonsai. So look at all that debris we're throwing and burning away. This will be chipped or whatever. So let me follow the tracks. These are the tracks that our digger and a dumper follow as we progress through the nursery. So it's about 200 yards away between the compost heap and the new beds that we are creating with the compost for planting our new trees in the ground. And we are going to dig tomorrow about 13 or 14 really large trunk yew trees. And when we say they're large trunk, they are anything from 6-inch to about 8-9 inch in diameter trunks. So these are going to be harvested and grown on for making into these carved yews, like the ones that Kevin has been working on. So this is what we're going to use those for. So this is the compost that has been spread, and you can see that this bed is about 2 feet deep, 62 centimeter deep. This is where we spread our compost, and we're going to plant trees in this new area, in this lovely fertile soil. And then we can show you also the yews that are about to be harvested, and that's going to be a job for tomorrow. So you saw what we did the other day, trimming these yew trees, preparing them for lifting. So these are the yew trees that are going to be lifted tomorrow, and that will be start of another journey. So this is part of the production cycle of making bonsai. And just to show you the quality of the trunks, look at those trunks, thick trunks with big nibori. So this is how we grow our trees in the ground. While I'm here, I'll show you a trident maple that we've been growing in the ground for several years. Look at the base of that. That's about 18-inch diameter trunk, trident maple. Must be crazy. There you go. So here we are. Today is the 5th of April, and we have all these machines here to dig up our yews. And we prepared the beds. Look at the rich soil we've got here. This is all our own compost that we've dug out from our compost heap, and we're going to use this as the main soil for the trees. Okay, so here we go. These are the trees, and they are quite tall. They're at least a meter, if not more, in height. But remembering that this is just half the height, they were much taller than this, and they've been cut down to size and ready for digging. Here we go. Yeah, perfect. Gotta go deeper. Keep going. This is the yew that has been dug up. Look at it. Look at the size of it. Nice roots. Those are nice roots. Very good. So let's have a look at this tree. Look at the size of it. Look at the base. See the raffia, the hessian, which was wrapping the root ball, is still there. So as I say, this tree is not that old. Look at it. It's every bit, I would say 15 to 18 inch across at the base. Look at that Nemari. Look at the size of his hand. That is the Nemari. Woo! Good grief. Monster tree. Absolute monster. Beauty. Woo-hoo. So this is out. Look at the lovely roots. Look at the lovely roots. Look at that. That's what we want. Perfect. This is perfect. Okay. Because the roots are so compact, we're going to put it in one of these containers. So this is the third stage. The first stage was digging out of the trench. Then we cut off all the excess root that we didn't need, and we got it into a nice compact root ball. And now we're going to lift it into a pot, because this one fits the pot. I'm going to try and put it in the pot. Those that don't fit the pot, we just plant it straight back in the ground in better soil, but with the roots trimmed. Okay, Joe, we're ready to strap it.
What do you want, one on each corner?
Try the two middle ones.
That size has to be lifted with a digger. It's too heavy to lift. Even two men can't lift a tree like that. Look at that. Okay. Future bonsai. To get that thicker roots out.
Try and keep as much of that,
yeah.
cut back some of that.
If you can. Steve can lower it a little bit. Now we're cutting enough root to fit the pot. So we're going to cut the thick roots rather than the fine roots. Thick roots don't matter. Worst come to worst, we'll have to find a bigger pot. So this is another tree. Because the root ball is so compact, we can get it straight in these large 300 litre pots. So there you are. Okay, lift it and into the pot. Perfect. Perfect. What a fit. we're not playing with baby trees. This is massive. That root ball is about 6 foot across. Look at the size of this fork compared to the root base. So we're going to remove some of the soil, cut out the thick roots. Thick roots like that we don't need, and we'll try and keep some of the fine roots. So that's the first stage after growing it and taking it out. Look at that trunk. Look at that trunk. That's every bit about 10 to 12 inches across. That's the size of bonsai we play with. So there are 13 of these great big yews. This is the size of tree we like. Look at that hessian bag, it's still around there. These were planted maybe 15 years ago or 20 years at most. So who says that bonsai is a long-winded thing? But we are handling them with machine. So let me give you an update as to what we've done so far. We set about digging altogether 16 of these great big yews, which were originally about 8 foot high, cut down to about 3 or 4 feet. That means just over a meter tall. And then we put them in these large 300-liter shallow flower pots or containers. And you can still see that it's pretty tall, pretty tall. And the nibari on these trees is absolutely massive. But the final tree will probably end up half as tall. And we're using this wonderful leaf mold compost that we produce ourselves on our land. So the trees are potted up in this and hopefully they should survive. We did about 5 hours work yesterday and about 3 hours work today. So 8 or 9 hours work. We've managed to get out, I have a quick count, 3, 6, 8, 9 trees. That means one tree per hour it takes. That means from digging up to sorting out the roots and putting it in a pot. So it is quite a long and tedious job. When they're all done, I will show you and explain to you how I further refine the trees. I don't like to cut it down too much, but the main thing is to get it to survive and produce new shoots, which I'm sure they will do. So again, just show you how Steve digged the trees up with a digger. This is a 3.5 ton digger. Takuchi, which is a Japanese digger, and the soil is quite nice and soft, not waterlogged. It's just right. That's why we always choose to dig in the early spring, because the conditions are just right. So digger operator has got to make sure he's got enough of a root ball not to damage too much root. If you were to dig this by hand, I think it would take you the best part of 3 hours to dig this 3 hours, maybe more. With a digger, it'll probably take about 10 minutes, but he's doing it very carefully. It's not just digging it up and dumping it. He's got to just make sure he's got the right amount of root ball. Has been doing this for the last 30 years, so he's well used to lifting trees from the ground. So we are actually growers. We don't just buy and sell plants, we actually grow our plants. So these yews, which now have like 12-inch diameter trunk, were planted when they were only like an inch thick in the trunk. And I think they were planted about 20 years ago. So there's the root ball out. Look at the compost. by root ball. Beautiful fibrous roots. So there you go. And then the next job is to trim the thick roots and put them in a pot. So today is a lovely sunny day. Good Friday of 2023, and I'm bringing you out to our growing fields because we've been busy digging up trees with the digger. And I'll just show you, we've taken out 16 large yews from the ground. This is where we took our hedge out. There was a great big 8-foot high yew hedge growing here, which I planted, I think, something like 15 or 20 years ago. And this is what is left of the hedge, but we're going to plant a new hedge in this place. And these are the big trees that we got out. Look at it. These pots are 1 meter in diameter and about, I would say, 35 centimeter deep. And this is the size of yew that we've got out of the ground. Look at them. There are 16 of these yews. So we grow them in these pots for the first year or two so that they develop a nice fibrous roots. Then we take it out again and reduce the roots quite considerably so that they can fit a bonsai pot eventually, but nevertheless they'll still be pretty large pots. Look at the size of the Nimari there. And you can see that these trees are not old because the raffia that held the root ball is still tied around the tree. But look at that, that's 18-inch Nimari across the top. That tree is about 1.5 meter high, but we will no doubt cut it down to about half the height, depending on what the next owner wants to do with them. No doubt it'll be a carving job. So every tree is absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. So there you go. This is just in 2 days' work. We've dug out 16 of these great big yews. This is the hole just to get one tree out. We dug it out of that hole. And a few smaller ones as well. So we will take you into the next stage. So this hopefully will be the end of the video that I've showed you how we dig it out. I might show you another shot when I've planted the new hedge, because we are talking about sustainability. We're not just ripping a hedge out. We take the hedge out like harvesting and planting a new one. So there you are. I'm not ruining the environment. So there's one more video to come. So it's 8 days since I started digging out the hedge, and I've shown you the progressive sequences of how we dug the trees out and put them in big pots. And now what we've got to do is replace the hedge. So these are the new yews that we've got. So as you can see, what we're doing is really cultivating a crop. It is literally a crop, nothing more than that. So the crop is a new hedge, and these yews are about, I would say, 12 years old. They're about 2 inches thick in the trunk, and we're going to plant them as before, and hopefully they will create a new hedge to replace the old one. And you can see that they come from the nurseries wrapped in hessian, but we've got to take the hessian out. I'll get the boys to plant one of them and I will show you how it's done. I forgot to show you, this is another great big juniper that we got out of the ground. This is not Yamadori stuff. Someone asked me on Facebook, is this Yamadori? No, this has been grown in the field for 38 years. I bought this tree maybe in 1980, So that's a long time. 1980 from a nursery in Woking in Surrey, and it is a grey owl. Grey owl juniper. Look at it. As good as any of the Yamadori stuff. So hopefully someone will complete this project. And you notice that I trim a lot of the foliage off. This is all the foliage I trim off so that it doesn't make too many demands on the roots. So that helps the tree to survive better. So we will show you why we remove the hessian which holds the root ball. Because if you don't remove the hessian, the roots will get confined in the hessian and you will cause some girdling roots. So don't remove it all, wait till we're ready to put it in a hole, otherwise all the soil will drop off. Okay, dig the hole first and then we'll drop it in. So, same depth as the root ball. Okay, now we're ready to put the tree into the hole we've dug, and we're going to remove the hessian first. We don't want the hessian in there. Common mistake people make. I know you can plant it, but it's better to remove it. Oh, very good. Okay, great. And just feel the soil in and stamp it. It's a bit too deep, just a little higher. So
You want it a little higher?
Yeah, a little higher, yes. A bit too deep. Yeah. Okay. Okay, great.
Yeah?
Okay. And when the hedge is planted, I'll take another view. So those are all the yews there. Can you see? We're ready to plant them. And when they're all in, I'll take a final shot. So we've planted all the new yews, and hopefully they will grow rapidly because the soil is good and the plants are strong, and these will take over as the new hedge, and in another few years they could be harvested again. So to remind you, these are the old hedges which have anything from 8-inch to 12-inch diameter trunks, and we are going to follow the progress of these as well. So I hope you enjoyed this little video. Not a little video, it was quite a long one, and learned from it. Thank you for watching. Bye.